Education is the key to leadership. So now let's begin our journey to the leadership. Arthron is an initiative for all the UPSC and other government job aspirant. Over here, we provide daily quizzes, daily news analysis, weekly news analysis on our website and even on our Instagram handle.
The first topic is Election Law Bill. The Election Law Amendment Bill 2021 has been passed in Lok Sabha. The opposition members have raised several objections on the bill. So, over here we will look at what is Election Law Bill, what were the criticism, what are the concerns, and what are the positive impact of this bill. So, the bill amends two acts, which is People Act, Representation of People Act 1950 and Representation of People Act 1951. So, the Representation of People Act 1950 provides all sort of allocation of seats, delimitation of constituencies for election, qualification of voters, and preparation of electoral rolls. The 1951 Act provides all the procedure for conducting election, and if any offence or disputes happen in elections, so what are the steps or what are the measures that will be taken. Let us look at the salient features of the bill. The first one is deduplication of electoral roll. As there was a big concern by Election Commission of India that a lot of bogus voting or the fraudulent voting are taking place. So if Aadhaar card is connected with election ID, all this bogus voting can be curbed from the society. Now what is this bogus voting? Suppose I have election ID from different constituencies. So I can go to different constituencies and give a vote. So it is basically a killing of democratic election. This was happening. But if government connect Aadhaar ID with election ID, this bogus voting could be curbed from the society. Second feature is multiple qualifying date. So when earlier election were taking place, so the only people attaining 18 years till 1st January were mentioned in the electoral list, which resulted at many people who were attained 18 years age after the 1st January had to wait for 1 year. So now government had introduced 4 qualifying date, which are which is January, April, July and October. So now all the people who are getting 18 years in this period of time can register themselves for voting. Government had also bring gender neutrality. How? So पहले जब सोल्जर्स बाहर वॉर पे जाते थे, सो उनकी वाइफ्स उनकी जगह पे वोट कास्ट करती थी. वहाँ पे वाइफ्स को वाइफ्स ऑफ मेंशन किया जाता था, बट नाउ इट विल बी रिप्लेस्ड बाय स्पाउस, because now even women are also actively participating in NDAs, in armies, in navies and all form of military services. So now the word which was wife is now will be changing into spouse.
So the first concern was on the basis of 2015 Supreme Court judgment in which the Supreme Court said that Aadhaar is itself not mandatory because there are a lot of cases of fake Aadhaar IDs, and even Aadhaar is only meant to be proof of residentship. It's not a proof of citizenship. So how can government take Aadhaar and link it with electoral ID? The second fear was fear of mass disenfranchisement, which means that suppose if I am not willing to connect my Aadhaar ID with voter ID, so what will happen? The Election Commission of India or the electoral registrator officer would not would not write my name in the voters list. So this will, take my voting power. The third concern was that there is no data protection law. As we are giving, as being a voter, we are giving all our information of from our name, our biometrics, by linking our Aadhaar ID with election ID. So, is there any concern or is there any steps that government will take to protect our data? The fourth concern was privacy concern. As Election Commission of India will have our all information, so it could happen that government could use that that information for manipulating election. It could also happen that exclusion of voter would be happening because at the ruling party of center or state government could use that or could manipulate that data and use it for micro targeting. So what is micro targeting? So let us take example. Suppose an X party knows that this much amount of people are going to vote them, so they are going to target them only, and the other leftovers which are not going to vote them, they can exclude them, or even they can try to make some of the policies, frame some of the policies which can magnetize their vote too. So with all these concerns, opposition had opposed this bill. Now let us look at the government stand. The government firstly said that this is a voluntary linking. So what does it mean? That if I want to link my Aadhaar card with my electoral ID, then I could. If I am not willing to, so it's not a pressure by the government or by the Election Commission of India to link it. Then the second one is that there will be no risk of disfranchisement because as the government itself is saying that it's not mandatory, it's an voluntary, so it will be not resulting in that removing your name from the electoral list. Now, our second topic is criminalization of politics. India is the largest democracy in the world. Now, as we can see, there are a number of politicians who have tons of criminal cases against them. So, can a criminal or we can say a politician with such immense criminal cases could be elected as our representative? This was the concern of Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ordered Election Commission of India to do something. Either they can give a long history of all the criminal cases of that politician, or even they can make some app so that people could get aware of that politician. So now let us look at some of the qualification that a candidate must be having. The first qualification is that candidate should be citizen of India. The second one is that the minimum age. So for Lok Sabha election, the minimum age is 25, and for the municipal and panchayat election, the minimum age is 21. Candidate which is recognized by any of the political party should propose his nomination from that particular constituencies from where he or she might have been recognized. If there is an independent candidate, then he needs to have a 10 prosperous. Apart from that, there is a security deposit that candidate need to be deposit within the election commission. So now let us look at that how can candidate can disqualified from an election. So under section 8, a candidate can be disqualified if he or she has done a criminal offence for which he or she might have been convicted for more than 2 years. So when after that conviction the the candidate cannot participate in election for 6 years after getting out from that jail. So for example, if candidate X has been arrested in any of the criminal case and he has completed his whole uh, punishment and he has been released from the jail in 2000, so now he can participate in election in 2007. So the 6 years after he could participate in election. Now let us look at the reasons for criminalization of politics. The first one is use of muscle and money power. As contesting election or parties need a lot of money during the election process. So they tend towards those candidates who have such money or even have muscle power too. So party tend to give tickets to those who have both of them, and such criminals get a chance to be participated in the elections. Secondly is narrow self-interest. Indian politics is basically based on caste, religion or other interests. So people mostly tend to vote those who matches to their such interest of caste or religion or subcaste. So people basically vote them. For example, if a party in a Dalit area have given a representation to a Dalit, then most of the people will be voting that Dalit representative, as they will think that yeah, he's belonging to us, he's one of us, so he will understand our problems more. So these are the some reason because of which criminalization is so much popular in politics. Now, what are these effects? What are the effects of the criminalization? First of all, it is against the principle of free and fair election. Using of muscle power, using of money power would be not helping in conducting free and fair election. Even it limits, second, is that it limits the choices of voter to elect suitable candidate. Because when there will be so many politician, or we can say politician with such so many criminal cases, so people would not having any good choices to make. Thirdly, such politician with such immense uh, immense criminal cases are actually willing for the free and fair election. So even if we are choosing a representative for us who is having a such good amount of criminal cases, so is that a representative? Is that a true representative who could give a good governing to the country? Even if such representative is going to be elected, it will cause social disharmony among the society. So now what steps can be taken to avoid or to curb this criminalization from politics? The first step which can taken is strengthening our election commission. So election commission can register any political party, which it can do. But what if we give the power to election commission to disqualify any party on such ground? If we do that, so election commission could conduct a free and fair election or a cleaner election for our country. Second is that behavioral change. So people should realize that politics is not just about religion or about caste, or it's not just about our our person or a representative who is who is promoting such religion, this religion, or who is promoting particular caste is good. The politics is most about the ideologies, the development that a representative is going to do for all of us, not for a particular religion. People should realize that bribing, if a representative is bribing us, we should not vote to that representative, because it will lead to unfair election in our country. So by such all efforts we can curb criminalization from the politics.